Today the morning woke me gently, as if it knew your name. Light leaned through the window the way I once leaned toward you. Careful, hopeful, full of breath. It is your birthday. The words still feel warm in my mouth. Not old words, not tired words. Words that know how to wait. I am bringing flowers. Not because tradition demands it, but because my hands remember how they once held your joy. I am bringing flowers because silence is not enough, and memory alone cannot knock on a door and be heard. The road to you is familiar. Every turn remembers our footsteps. Every shadow carries something we once said and never took back. You were my first beginning. Before I learned how love can bend, before I learned how time can test even the strongest promises, I bring roses for the years we bloomed without fear. I bring lilies for the nights we learned how fragile happiness can be. I bring wildflowers for the laughter that surprised us. Do you remember how birthdays used to arrive quietly? How we celebrated with small things? Tea growing cold, candles melting unevenly, our future sitting between us like an unopened letter. I have lived many days since then, but today walks differently. Today wears your face in every reflection. If I am late, forgive me. Time sometimes pauses to ask me questions I am still learning how to answer. I am bringing flowers because love does not always leave. Sometimes it changes rooms. Sometimes it learns how to whisper. I do not come to disturb your peace. I come to honor it. I come carrying color, soft petals instead of excuses. The wind follows me, curious, gentle. It carries the scent of things that once mattered deeply and somehow still do. This is not regret alone. This is gratitude standing upright. This is a heart remembering where it first learned how to beat for someone else. Your birthday is a doorway. The door does not rush to open. Neither do I. Some moments deserve patience, like the way we once learned each other's silences. I remember your voice in the mornings, soft but certain, calling my name as if it belonged to me before I ever believed it did. You taught me that love is not always fire. Sometimes it is water. Sometimes it is the quiet hand resting on your back when the world grows loud. On your birthdays, you used to pretend they were ordinary days, but your eyes betrayed you, waiting for something small and sincere. I am bringing flowers the way one brings truth, without armor, without rehearsal, hoping honesty will be enough. There were years we stood together like trees that believed their roots could never separate. There were years the wind proved us wrong. Still, even storms remember where the forest began. I think of the promises we made, not the broken ones, but the brave ones that carried us further than fear ever could. Your laughter once rearranged my days. It moved furniture in my heart I didn't know could be moved. If I could gift you time, I would give you the years when our hands fit perfectly, when tomorrow felt generous. But time is not mine to wrap, so I bring flowers instead. Each petal a sentence I never said aloud. Some are apologies that waited too long. Some are thank yous that never learned how to speak. I wonder who you are today, not in sadness, but in awe. Growth has a way of making us strangers and miracles at the same time. I hope your life is gentle with you. I hope joy finds you without needing permission. If you are loved now, I respect that love. If you are alone, may solitude treat you kindly. This is not a return. This is a remembrance. A moment laid carefully between what was and what continues. The flowers are still fresh, their colors unafraid. They do not ask to be kept forever. They only ask to be seen, to be accepted, to mark a moment with beauty. I take another step forward. The past walks beside me, not heavy, not bitter, just honest. Your birthday breathes again in this space. I stop for a moment to straighten the wrapping, as if beauty needs reminding to stand tall. The flowers seem to understand where they are going. They lean forward slightly, eager, as if they, too, remember you. There was a time I knew your favorite colors better than my own moods. I chose them carefully then, the way one chooses words before saying forever. Today, I choose with humility, not certainty, not possession, just care. Your name still lives in the corners of my thoughts, never loud, never demanding, just present. I learned many things after you, but the first lessons were the deepest. How to listen, how to stay, how to fail without becoming cruel. If I speak of the past, it is not to reopen wounds. It is to acknowledge the ground we once shared and the strength it gave us. Birthdays are mirrors. They show us where we've been and hint gently at where we might still go. I imagine you today, perhaps smiling at something small, perhaps carrying quiet reflections of your own. May this day treat you softly. May memories visit only with permission. I am bringing flowers not as a symbol of return, but as proof that love can evolve without disappearing. The stems are firm, the petals forgiving. They do not ask questions about endings. They bloom anyway. Once we spoke of growing old, of lines on our faces earned together. Life chose a different handwriting. Still, the ink of those dreams never fully faded. I stand here now, older, gentler, more careful with hope. If my presence is unexpected, know that it carries no demand, only acknowledgement, only respect. This moment is yours, your birthday, your light. I offer the flowers and step back slightly, allowing space for whatever this day wishes to become. Some loves teach us how to begin. Some teach us how to let go with dignity. You were both. And as the day opens wider, I silently wish you peace that lasts longer than memory, joy that does not ask where it came from. The flowers rest between us, simple, bright, honest. A pause, a breath. The room feels different now, as if it recognizes intention, as if sincerity has weight but not burden. I think of the years when we spoke without thinking, when words ran ahead of wisdom and love forgave the distance. Those days shaped me. They pressed meaning into my voice, into my choices, into the way I carry silence. I once believed love had only one direction, forward, together, unquestioned. You taught me that love can also turn inward, reflect, and still remain true. I am not here to rewrite history. History already knows our names. I am here to honor what survived the telling. Birthdays are gentle judges. They ask nothing but honesty. So here it is. You mattered, deeply, irrevocably. The flowers listen as I stand quietly. Their colors soften the air. They remind me that beauty does not need permanence to be real. Once, your happiness was my daily prayer. Now it is my respectful wish. I release the idea of how things should have been. I accept the truth of how they were. That acceptance is its own gift. If our paths crossed again as strangers, I would still recognize your light. Some energies do not forget where they were first seen. Your birthday carries forward without asking permission from the past. I admire that. I step back another pace, not in retreat, but in understanding. Love does not always stay close. Sometimes it stands at a distance and bows. I leave the flowers where they can be reached or ignored. Either choice is yours. What matters is the offering, clean, quiet, complete. The day continues. Time moves gently again. I turn, carrying no resentment, only the calm knowledge that something meaningful was once shared. And that is enough. As I walk away, the sound of the day returns. Distant traffic, a bird calling without urgency, life resuming its ordinary rhythm. Yet something has shifted, not outside, but within. I remember how we once believed love was something to be protected from the world. Later, I learned love is something that prepares you to face it. Your birthday reminds me of the person I was before caution sharpened me, before disappointment taught me new definitions of strength. I do not miss the pain. I miss the innocence. And even that, I hold gently. The flowers remain behind, doing what they were meant to do, offering beauty without expectation of return. Perhaps later you will move them to a vase, trim their stems, give them water. Perhaps you will simply smile and let the moment pass. Both are enough. I think of the version of you who once trusted me completely, and the version of me who tried imperfectly to deserve that trust. We were young in hope, brave in belief. That counts for something. Birthdays mark survival. Another year navigated, another season endured and learned from. I silently celebrate the strength you gathered after our chapters closed. May your future continue unfolding with clarity, with laughter that comes easily, with rest that truly restores. If love finds you again, may it meet you where you are now, wiser, steadier, more fully yourself. I do not follow the flowers with my eyes. I let them remain where they belong, in the present. What we shared is no longer a question. It is an answer to who I became. Some beginnings do not end. They simply stop speaking loudly and start living quietly inside us. Your birthday fades into afternoon light. I carry no longing, only recognition. Recognition that love can be real even when it changes shape. Recognition that gratitude is a form of peace. I breathe deeply, step fully back into my life, and allow the day to continue its gentle unfolding. Somewhere behind me, flowers breathe in sunlight. Somewhere ahead, time waits patiently. The afternoon stretches slowly, as if it understands that some days deserve room. I think about how love changes its language over time. Once it spoke in urgency. Now it speaks in understanding. I used to measure happiness by how close you stood to me. Now I measure it by how freely you can breathe. That is growth, not distance, but clarity. Your birthday becomes a quiet lesson. That celebration does not always require shared space, only shared respect. I remember the sound of your footsteps, the way you entered a room as if something good was about to happen. That memory no longer pulls at me. It simply exists, like a photograph that does not fade. I have learned that some love stories are not meant to be continued, but to be carried, carefully, without resentment. The flowers I left behind will slowly change. Their petals will soften, then release. That is not failure. That is fulfillment. So much of life is learning when to hold and when to let be. If I could speak to you now, without reopening old pages, I would say this simply. Thank you for the years you shared. Thank you for the lessons that stayed. Your birthday is not a reminder of loss. It is a reminder of endurance. Somewhere you are laughing, or resting, or dreaming quietly. I wish you ease. I wish you mornings that arrive without heaviness, evenings that close gently. The path forward does not require forgetting. It requires balance. I step further into my own future, carrying no debt to the past, only acknowledgement. Love shaped me once. It does not need to shape me again in the same way. The day leans toward evening. Light softens its edges. I realized then, this was never about closure. It was about alignment, about placing memory where it can rest without interfering with what comes next. Your birthday becomes complete in its quiet way, and I, finally at peace with the meaning of first, understand. First does not mean unfinished. First means foundational. And foundations, when honored, do not crumble. Evening arrives without announcement. It always does. One moment the world is open, the next it is reflective. I notice how shadows lengthen, how light chooses what to linger on. It reminds me of memory, selective, kind, rarely cruel unless invited. There was a time I feared remembering you, as if memory itself might undo me. Now I understand memory is not an enemy, it is a witness. Your birthday stands quietly among all the other days, distinguished not by noise but by significance. I think of the first home we shared, not the walls, but the atmosphere, the way trust lived there, untested and sincere. We built something with what we knew then. That matters. No love begins perfect. It begins honest. The flowers you received carry no explanation. They do not recount the past. They simply exist as a gesture of acknowledgement. That is enough language. I walk under a sky that has seen all versions of me. It does not judge which ones stayed or left. I realize now, some love stories are not tragedies. They are apprenticeships. You were my first teacher in commitment, in compromise, in vulnerability. For that alone, gratitude stands taller than regret. Your birthday becomes a chapter title in my life, not a footnote, not an unfinished sentence. I hope you feel seen today, not by me, but by life. I hope kindness finds you without searching. There is a peace that comes from knowing nothing is owed. Only respect remains. Only acknowledgement. The past does not follow me. It walks beside me briefly, then fades into background light. I continue forward, no longer looking back to confirm meaning. Meaning has already been established. Somewhere, candles are being lit. Somewhere, you are being wished well. And somewhere inside me, the quiet certainty remains. What we shared was real, and reality does not need repetition to be valid.